Welcome back, Huddle Up Podcast. It is episode 2 of the off-season program. We hope you enjoyed the first one, and by all means, hopefully we all cooled down after the first one, and we had to settle it back for a few weeks. But the whole crew once again.
You had
What was that, Kyle?
Earn on the show. Of course, it was going to come out hot.
But we are back, and now we kind of get into what was a little bit more the style of last year's offseason program, where we kind of just take a topic that we've had just kind of, sitting to the side, waiting for the football season to end. That it's not timely. It's not. It doesn't have an expiration date. Like these are the type of topics that you can get to when there's not weekly NFL football. Kyle, I stress NFL football.
Thank you, because some of us are on site for XFL. I'll be at a Guardians game this weekend, which apparently I should get apologies for. Anyways.
Oh, geez. But AJ, Mike, Matt, student of the game, Kyle Nash, the whole gang back together again for another one. And the topic for this week, and we will go through all 4 of the major sports, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL. But if you could erase one athlete's injuries from their career and then watch their career play out, who would you choose? So we will start here. We will start in Major League Baseball. Kyle, and since I know it is your favorite sport, biggest baseball guy we've ever known and loved, I will start with you, student of the game, Kyle Nash.
And while I appreciate you laughing at bringing me a baseball question, even though it's your idea on your show, asshole, I think I have an answer that will make everyone in this room feel better. Isn't anybody else curious how the baseball career and football career of one Bo Jackson would have gone had he not gotten hurt? Here, bitches.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is certainly a more than fair answer. Injuries cut down his career in both sports. To be honest.
Mean, what could Bo have done? Who knows? Huh? See, that's how old that joke might be, because mommies and daddies used to watch this commercial ad campaign by Nike that was called Bo Knows. Anyways,
it was awesome.
It was good. Matt, in Major League Baseball, who is your athlete?
Yeah, I'm glad I get to go second, because beyond Bo Jackson, I think there's an obvious answer. And Jim, you and I have discussed this in terms of pro sports. I think every sport kind of has an argument in terms of who is the GOAT, with women's tennis and hockey. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Jim. Being the 2 exceptions, in my opinion, of there being a GOAT. But I think had it not been for the injuries to one Ken Griffey Jr., we would have another sport where there is a defined GOAT, and that would have been him, because he had the purest swing, and I think he would have crushed every single record that stood in terms of hitting if he did not have to deal with the injuries that he did once he got to Cincinnati. So my choice would be for Ken Griffey Jr.'s career to go unblemished by injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I will give a different answer when it gets around to me, but without question, that is my answer. Probably not like, if you're asking me this question in all of sports, I may give Ken Griffey Jr. as my response.
I will also judge you, but that's an option that you can make, Jim.
Kyle, I know. Baseball is a sensitive subject with you.
If I won't say it, I feel like I'm disappointing you. So it's a rock and a hard place for me, buddy.
That is fair. Mikey B, who is your MLB athlete for this question?
Just because I kind of want to keep the one option that I have in my back pocket open for Ernest, because he may go this route, I will go a different route. I will go the career of Mark Pryor, starting pitcher of the Chicago Cubs.
Okay.
Came on the scene rocking, just him and Kerry Wood. Both of them actually had pretty solid starts to their career before they both got hurt. The what if of how good the Cubs rotation would have been with the 2 of them leading the way. before the injuries ended up costing Pryor the rest of his career and inevitably costing Wood to go to the bullpen and having to be a guy who only threw in relief for a couple seasons, including a stop in Cleveland. But Mark Pryor was a guy coming out. Everybody thought he was going to be great. Went skyrocketed up prospects list, made it through the minors super quickly. Started off fantastic, and then inevitably the injuries caught up to him and cost him a big chunk of what could have been, I'm not going to say a, top 5 pitching career of all time, but with as good a stuff as he had with the situation that he was in Chicago with Carey, he could have been an ace of a rotation for years and years and could have put up great numbers. Obviously the days where pitchers were throwing every day and, having 17,000 wins or whatever it was, he's not going to catch any of those statistical records, but he could have been a major pillar of this era of baseball if he was able to stay healthy.
All right, EJ.
Yeah, my answer was actually the same as Matt's, because there's no question of Ken Griffey, because his career even now with injuries is still one of the greatest of all time.
4th highest paid Red this season.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, everybody wants the Met stats.
He could still demolish the baseball too if you watched him practice swinging with the USA team.
Not only. He's a great guy too. He's like a great guy. He's not polarizing like Bonds. I'm a big Bonds guy. Obviously, my favorite player of all time.
Young Bonds.
But right. Well, it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna keep it home. I think, Mike. I'm assuming, is it Dave Wright?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Wright.
It was Captain. It was Captain America.
Yeah, because Dave Wright, might be a Hall of Fame player if he stays healthy. He's a great dude, great leader. He was a great player in his prime, and injuries just collapsed his career. I mean,
plays the hot corner too. There's not a ton of third basemen that kind of do what Dave Wright did.
Yeah. So Dave Wright was mine, but I did have Ken Griffey on my list first originally, because Ken Griffey would be the GOAT without question.
I mean, I think when you think about it, I think it's a 1A, 1B to start. I think it was Bo and Griffey, and then it was just kind of like, I'm only using that to let Kyle either be angry about baseball or be angry that somebody else used 1A, 1B. I was trying to give him an option.
I'm not mad about 1A, 1B, Bern. I'm disappointed.
That is a disgusting act.
And that's okay. But I'm not ranking quarterbacks 1A, 1B. I'm talking about guys who had their careers impacted.
That doesn't make it okay.
I think it does, because I believe the fact of the matter is that if either one of them were your answers, they were acceptable answers. And whatever you decide to do from there would be smarter than anything that Ernest Christian says the rest of the offseason.
Is that better than 4A, 4B?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyle. And Jim would agree with you, right, Jim?
Yes, Kyle.
Take your punishment. You let it happen.
I blame you.
The NBA one I'm looking forward to doing, though.
I blame you.
All right.
I apologize that I didn't come out with Cena, Jim. I failed your show tonight by not doing that. And I know it's been some weeks off. That's unacceptable.
You suck.
Yes, I'm a jackass. I get it. Everybody? Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I had Ken Griffey Jr. as mine. The next one that came into my mind, and only because he came up through the minor league system not far from where Matt and I live, pitcher in the Nationals organization, Steven Strasburg. I mean, I was going to
ask about him, actually.
Yeah,
that was actually my number 2 if someone took Griffey.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was being touted as the next incarnation of Nolan Ryan and God knows what other pitchers, but I mean, just
that was the Tommy John bullshit, right?
Yeah, just got
couple
derailed
times, right?
But yeah, multiple Tommy John injuries. And you saw the talent. The talent was there. Unfortunately for him, the body wasn't. So
I mean, even after the Tommy John injuries, he still was an anchor in that World Series winning Nationals team. So that shows you just how good he was after.
Yeah, which is
multiple reconstructive surgeries.
As somebody who is not baseball and actively goes out of his way to talk trash on it, Matt, when you said that, I felt something. That does suck. So that should say plenty for you. I don't mean to hijack your show, but I don't have the opportunity to ask a baseball question to a bunch of baseball analysts and EJ about this particular topic.
Thank you for that.
By the way, no, I make that joke, but EJ, you and the Burn are uniquely qualified as people in the gaming industry to field this question.
I'll say Burn's a little more, because Burn is a fucking squid, as you said. He knows everything about the sport, especially that sport.
Well, at
So,
any
I don't
rate,
know about everything, but okay.
yeah, I've dunked on him in a few times in football episodes, but that's a whole other question. Anyways, so
You can dunk. I'll shoot threes.
hey, you know what? I am the big man in the middle. That's what she said. Moving on.
Hey-o.
So, with all that in mind, how stupid it is, gentlemen. We live in a world where Pete, I don't know his middle name because it's Baseball Rose, is banned for life. But we have multiple Las Vegas franchises in sport.
roll me that.
I
There's
mean,
no good reason as to why he's not in at this point.
Yeah.
There's
Edward.
none.
I think we all agree on that. That's
Whoa,
unanimous.
whoa. Burn. Pete Edward?
Edward. Yes.
By the way, as a kid, I got to see him play in a spring training game as a Philly. So there you go.
Now, I have a baseball signed by Pete Edward Rose that says, "I'm sorry I bet on baseball." And that's one of my prized collections in my memorabilia.
I mean, is he really sorry, or is he making money off of writing he's sorry on baseballs?
Are you being serious? No, I'm kidding.
I am serious.
I don't know. I think the Pete Rose thing's complicated because at the time he did what he did, it was like the biggest rule written in stone. You do not do what he did.
Oh, yeah.
At the time, but at this point, I'm saying today, with as loose as all professional sports are, with gambling on professional sports.
It was my ass. It's encouraged, buddy.
Well, didn't we just suspend somebody for a little bit for dropping a parlay on his team? I mean,
for having
Yeah,
a
really?
friend drop a parlay.
You mean number 0?
Yeah.
Thank you for that drop, Jim. You beat me to it. AB, looking forward to him coming out of that. Thank you, Falcons.
Yeah, I
Talk
mean,
about your terribly run organizations.
Right?
you're not kidding on that one. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. If they put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know that they ever will, at least while he's still living. I mean, I'm probably not going to make a big stink about it, but I'm also not banging the drum for him to get in personally.
I'm banging the drum for him and Shoeless Joe to get in. Put everyone in.
Can we have the WWE Hall of Fame class turned MLB where it's like Barry Bonds, Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe, and some other person that has a scandal? But just put them all in together.
Well, okay, and here's the thing, and this is what I always said about the steroid era is
McGuire. Put McGuire in that too.
If you want to put them in and kind of put them in the asterisk wing,
100%.
Then do it, and then you know what? Put Shoeless Joe, put Pete Rose in the same wing. Like because I don't think you can. The
steroids wing is a little different. I feel like because that was kind of a wink, nudge by MLB. Like, hey, go ahead. We won't.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think Bonds and
people
McGuire
are really enjoying people bashing the shit out of this baseball.
Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa are a lot different than Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose. Like
because
Bud Selig
they were doing weren't illegal, and
no, because what Bud Selig was doing was probably saying, "Hey, we need to get people to watch because we fucked up and had a strike. Here, let's give some guys some steroids so they hit the ball 800 fucking feet so that we can put it on ESPN." And people will be like, "Oh, I need to watch this home run derby this year." And everybody started going back to watching baseball because they were putting runs on the board.
I mean, but it also, wasn't.
And to Shoeless Joe's defense, I think he was just too dumb to realize what was going on. If you watched Eight Men Out,
okay,
sorry, EJ, that's a baseball movie. That's not The Babe.
Pete Rose knew exactly what he was doing, and I like. There's part of me that's not even 100% sure that he actually is remorseful that he did it. I think he's more remorseful that he got caught and he got
0.0.
So
you just mean, Jim.
Like the
players.
I think to me the key in the key to parole with a prisoner. And I understand I'm making a very bold blanket with this. But
hyperbole, Jim.
Yeah. The key to parole is actually showing remorse. So I'm not gonna get ticked about it if he gets in. And there may be a day where he does, but I'm not banging the drum.
In that case, 0.0 is accurate.
I mean, I'll bang the drum on McGuire, Bonds, and others more than I bang the drum for Pete Rose.
Absolutely.
That's where I'll leave that.
Yeah.
I'm and again, non-baseball guys, so toss my opinion out the damn window and go right ahead.
I mean, that's literally an era of baseball that
I think that it's only just because that was probably behind the scenes encouraged, whereas Pete Rose's was not.
Yeah.
I'm also of the mindset of if you don't want to put in David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, guys who failed tests once you decided to start testing for it, like that's the steroid era to me. Like the guys that were doing it before was the nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Hey, help us, we'll help you kind of thing.
So
Almost like Hulk Hogan.
Let's just call it
turning on Vince McMahon for the
steroid
steroid trial.
Because the ones where the sport of baseball was living on air quotes, more hyperbole, Jim, blood money in doing that, that's a steroid era, bruh. I'm sorry. Like, and again,
it absolutely was.
For me,
they also have the juiced ball era. Like, so people weren't taking steroids, but they were making the baseballs different. Like, are we gonna question?
If you're gonna go down a rabbit hole in baseball, you're on your own, dude.
All I'm saying is if you're gonna have a steroid era wing where guys that are on it,
you just have to have a juiced wing.
Correct. That's what I'm getting at.
He's a guy that didn't use necessarily use steroids because they weren't invented. All he used were uppers in the ish and amphetamines in the ish they used back then, and beat Pete Ruth's record and Roger Maris. And we had to asterisk that poor bastard for doing his job the way it was supposed to be done. Shouts to Barry Pepper for a very good movie in '61, by the way. So with all that in mind, if we're going to put an asterisk on him, can we please damn sure do the same for these bulk fools? Like, it's disgusting. I used to have a poster of Barry Bonds as a kid that I got in my SI for kids. The guy don't look the same. How the hell do you get this athlete with a baseball bat to a dude that's bigger than me sideways? No. So
DJ,
yeah,
61 is a baseball movie that's not The Babe.
By the way, hey, no joking aside, if I didn't draft Major League, I would have drafted 61. I digress. Where that's the draft where I got jobbed. At least I beat EJ. Anyways, so
like being a one-legged guy in an ass-kicking contest. But what am I saying?
Hey, listen, he had a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Matt.
He did.
But so yeah, I mean, I don't see why asterisks can't be put on to.
They probably should and probably will at some point.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm doubtful of will because you're assuming that the baseball writers in the MLB Hall of Fame will be
eventually those old snotty pricks have to die.
That's what it is.
And there's a lot of younger writers who will change.
Once we get past like the old guard baseball writers who are back in my day, it cost me a nickel to get a foot long at the game. Like once we get past
opinions were perfectly okay, right?
Inevitably, he'll reach the point where he won't have to worry about the writers anymore. It'll go to the Veterans Committee, and that's when the guys from the steroid era will get in, because those veterans are the ones that are also looking at it going, they're probably one of the reasons why our game is still alive. So, I mean, we kind of got to let them in at some point. You're going to get the old heads that are baseball guys before you get the guy who, by the way, a lot of those people, those old heads, won't put people in the Hall of Fame because they wouldn't give them interviews. Barry Lamar Bonds, kind of an asshole to most reporters. A lot of people hold grudges. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Kyle, any more baseball talk out of you, or can we move to the next?
That covers a year, Kyle.
All right.
2024.
NBA. EJ, I'll start with you.
To me, this is easy. Grant Hill. Grant Hill.
What do you care? You live in Miami, bitch.
No, Grant Hill to me.
Go Heat, bitch.
What again?
And Grant Hill stayed
up the line.
If you look at his career in college at Duke, and look at his first couple of years in Detroit, and before the injuries, all that in Orlando, I'm convinced Grant Hill would have been a top 10 player all time. Grant Hill had the power of LeBron, but the finesse of Kobe.
Jesus
on
Christ.
one.
I don't know.
That dude was fucking amazing. That dude was.
Whoa.
What are you laughing about?
Stop.
I'm laughing at Matt's reaction.
So am I. Stop it.
What?
Stop it.
What?
Stop it.
What?
Don't say what. Okay, you aren't Stone Cold Steve
Austin.
What?
You know what? Actually, yeah.
I only have the
You saying Grant Hill having LeBron James's power is like me saying you're as strong as Stone Cold Steve Austin. So go ahead and keep
that dude,
what?
bro. Watch Grant Hill's game though. Seriously.
Fool, please. That's back when I was watching NBA. I did. He ain't powerful like LeBron.
I'm the expert. Back off. I'm the expert. Back off.
Bad NBA analyst, and I'm dunking on
you, Jim.
My third language.
What?
Grant Hill, whatever case may be, Grant Hill will be, in my opinion, if healthy, top 10 all time. Convinced.
I would put. Hey, listen, I can see him being better than Steph in the top 10. We're healthy, absolutely.
So Grant Hill, for me.
Top 10 all time.
Yep. He was that damn good.
Like
If
from the
this
start
great
of the
Jim-
NBA until
That-
2023.
That dude, before he got hurt, coming to Orlando, was a top 5 player in the league anyway at that point. In the era where Jordan was still playing, Elijah was still playing, Shaq was still playing, Kobe was on the come up.
Tell him.
That dude was a top 5 player in the league at that time.
I just feel like all time is a long time.
Never
Okay.
mind that
Yeah, no.
all of those players he named were on the twilight of their careers. And
Shaq-
you're also you are-
Jordan. Well, no, but he got drafted in '95, so Jordan came back from his baseball thing. Can't say Twilight.
That was
No,
fun.
ho. Wait. We're calling the second half of his Bulls career Twilight?
He did. He said, I didn't say that.
I
He
did,
said that.
yes.
I don't agree with that, but okay.
In terms of his playing years, he was better
He was still in
before
his
he
peak.
left.
I mean, by that argument, like, he didn't win a championship
And
till
we're
his
also
Twilight.
talking
He lost
about
to the team.
Michael Jordan. We're putting him in the same vein.
I
as
said
Michael
Jordan. I said Elijah Wan, who was his peak still at that point. I said
Twilight.
Shaq. No, last one won a ring in '95. We talking about
The year he was drafted.
'95? Yeah, he was drafted.
Okay,
So you're
So
comparing
you're talking
rookie
about-
Grant Hill to prime Akeem Olajuwon? What?
thank you.
I'm saying he was a top 5 player in the league in the late '90s.
Okay.
That's all I'm
All
saying.
right.
Okay, now, but you're comparing
Grant
apples
Hill.
to oranges.
Man. EJ's
Yeah,
Grant Hill.
it's Grant Hill.
We have the rest of this sport and 2 more to go. Mike.
I'm not going to go as outlandish as the gentleman to what would be my right. I'm just going to go Anthony Penny Hardaway.
Boo.
That's
They
a
should
good
have
one.
drafted Weber. What the hell with you guys and your Magic
No,
players?
they
This
got it
is-
right.
I'm
You got it right.
I'm picking Penny because I loved what him and Shaq were doing. And then it ended, and then Penny blew his ACL out, and then like his career just stopped.
What they were doing. You mean getting swept by a better team in the finals? Gotcha.
Oh, I mean,
Won
Well,
the Eastern Conference, got to the NBA Finals. I mean, that's still something to be proud of.
The Eastern Conference.
you can thank
The
Nick
90s.
Anderson. You can thank
Cool
Nick Anderson
story.
for that, Kyle. Thank you.
Hey, listen. First of all, I'm not going there. I know Nick Anderson personally. And second, no. Penny
All right.
Hardaway was probably the single most overrated player.
I mean,
Oh,
I have
that's
I have
bad
another one that if
take.
nobody mentions, I
That's
do
a
want to say at the
bad
end, but I'll save it
take,
for the
Kyle.
end, and
Right.
I'll let Matt go ahead.
How about
because-
Grant Hill, powerful like
I would
LeBron?
actually prefer to go last.
okay.
I'll go next. That's cool.
All right, Kyle.
And listen, I'm not going to make any bold claims. I'm just genuinely curious. I would have liked to see a resurgence of a Bulls team, even though when the Bulls were going, I was against them because they were awfully battling and essentially, I'm not going to say stole in the sense that they got robbed, but I was a Barkley fan and I was robbed of a Phoenix Suns championship by way of Paxson for 3. And I ain't mad at it, but I'm mad at it. That being said, the Bulls were threatening to make a resurgence, and they wouldn't have had a dynasty, but they would have been really dangerous if a certain young man, one Derrick Rose, didn't get obliterated. And I'm not here to say he would have been an all-time top 10. I'm not here going to say that he would have the power of Magic Johnson as a point guard. I wouldn't say anything that outlandish, but I am genuinely curious to see what would have happened, and that's why that's my pick.
He won MVP 2011. He deserved it.
And gets the man gets my vibe.
Hmm.
And I'm over and above you all a-holes stole the Magic players off the. I'm kidding. I wouldn't have picked them.
No, that paint take was pretty bad though. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty bad
no,
take.
it's not. It's absolutely correct, and you're just as wrong as they were back
No,
then.
you're wrong.
How did Weber do lifting the Sacramento Kings
But
to the damn?
Peja, Stojakovic, Mike Bibby,
Right.
really?
Sure.
I mean, come on.
Who was
No, I'm not saying.
So,
I'm not
so
knocking
the
Weber on
Kings
that.
put better
You
pieces
realize The
around.
guy you're talking about at one point was starting behind Scott Skiles, right? You get that, right?
All right, Penny. For the record, Penny was number 2 on my list after Grant Hill.
Oh, I mean,
I loved
Number 2 is your support for Penny Hardaway. Chris Rivers. By the way, having seen him in person with a bald head instead of that flat top is mind blowing. Anyway,
I feel like you just love you some Chris Webber. I feel like that's what we've gotten out of
I
this.
love Chris Webber.
No, I'm saying I think Kyle is just loves him some Chris Webber. I think that's where
No.
we're at this point.
why? I mean,
He loves bald black men. That's why.
but
Whoa, easy.
Don't you?
take it easy, kiddo.
He doesn't love you, that's for sure.
Oh no!
Like,
Wow. Damn.
Well, see, this is what happens whenever you're a friend for someone for 10 years and you won't make the 2-hour trip to see him. But hey, I have
Man,
First of
Sean's
all,
getting fired.
cold-blooded, baby. I'm shooting from the hip, baby.
First of all,
From
it's
the hip, son. From the hip, son.
Damn, if it were 2, I would have made the trip by now. Anyways.
So I went. I mean, it wasn't an injury, but Magic Johnson. I mean, the end of his career obviously cut off.
Fair.
It's just it's a shame that his career was cut off at the end the way it was.
A little shocked there on that one. I like it because it's my favorite sports athlete of all time. But a little shocked why you would.
Allegedly.
I don't know if he gets better though beyond 90. I mean,
yeah, I don't know that he does, but to me also, I look at it as a career as great as his to get cut off so abruptly.
If I may,
I think it's a shame.
If I may, EJ and Jim, if I may, it's not so much that he would have gotten better as a player, but imagine what he could have done to lift up young players around him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That's what he's going for.
Well, he did that in 91, actually, going to the finals with
And why are you arguing with him, motherfucker?
I know. I said I'm shocked that he said that. I didn't say anything was wrong. I said I'm shocked he used Magic Johnson.
I surprised him. Matt, who do you got?
Much as I want to put Joel Embiid in here, I will not. For risk of being called a homer.
Markel Fultz.
Joel Embiid is the last true good
Homer.
Another talented big man in Greg Oden, who we never really got to see do anything in the NBA because of injuries. I mean, you saw, and Grant Hill was apparently the best college basketball player to ever put on a pair of sneakers. But if you saw Greg Oden playing in Ohio State, he looked like he was a man playing against children. Yeah. And I would have loved to see what he could have done. And I think the Portland Trailblazers, that franchise, coming off of like so many years between Drexler where they really needed someone to rejuvenate what was going on. They got Dame now, but it's been a while and Dame hasn't really delivered what the promise of Greg Oden was when he was drafted in that draft. I would have loved to see what he could do.
I know. I'm sorry.
Without the knees just going against him.
So I had 2 honorable mentions that I wanted. And
go ahead.
I had Oden on my list. Brandon Roy, also of the Portland Trailblazers. He was one that I was on, and the other one was Yao Ming.
I mean,
because Yao was fairly dominant when he first came over, and then the foot injury, just like his feet were never healthy.
It was never the same. Yeah.
I'm not dissing the Yao Ming pick, but I would have gone Drazen Petrovic or Reggie Lewis before.
Oh my God.
Sure.
Kyle, give me a hug right now.
Sure. No, I don't have a problem with either of those. I feel like Yao is more like whenever I was younger watching basketball, so I know Yao more than the other guys.
Keep your hand out of the frame, EJ, so you don't see where you're touching.
But Brandon Roy was supposed to be the Drexler to Roy to Oden, and then like both of them just got destroyed by injuries.
Reggie Lewis, another great one.
That's not one.
I had Sean Livingston as my honorable
that was another good one.
Well.
No, Petro though.
Jay Williams too.
Yeah,
that's not one. But Petrovic though, oh my God, he would be probably in the conversation of top 5 or 7 shooting guards all time if he didn't die.
As a man of a lighter hue, I might.
Michael Jordan said he's one of the hardest guys ever guarded.
No, I didn't hear that. That's
yes, he did say that.
Damn. Now I sound real smart.
Yeah, I love Petro, man. I love this game.
By the way, how you feel about how I do with speaking my third language?
I told you he's not 30 anymore, bro. We got beyond that 3 years ago.
We move on to the NHL. Mike, I will start with you on this one. In the NHL.
Don't put me too deep in this one. This might be my weakest category for the record.
Or should I actually I should probably start with Kyle and EJ on this.
Understand.
Yeah.
I'm the fan. I'm with 2 hockey fans, EJ and a guy who hosts his own damn podcast. Help a brother out.
That's true. Kyle, we'll go to you first on this one.
Now keep in mind, hockey's a sport I wish I could spend more time. And maybe when my 2 kids are in college, I will. For me, it's a similar defense to whoever said Ken Griffey. He did all this, and he dealt with injury and was still this great. Bobby Orr is a staple and was still severely limited by injury with his knees, right? His healthiest seasons, he averaged 69 games, giggity. And imagine if he could play the full slate in his day as sort of, I'm going to say a godfather because we all know who the main man is when it comes to hockey. See what you will about, Lemieux or Sid Crosby. No offense, Jim. But
I swear to God.
Mike, mute yourself and vent how you have to. Just
But-
mute yourself, Mike, and vent how you have to. We don't have that level of time.
But quick, yeah, I mean, on this, I'm gonna call it the Ken Griffey defense based on Matt's selection for the MLB portion. I got Bobby Orr for that same reason.
All right,
Can I go second with the homer pick?
Sure.
So for me, as a Flyers fan, the career of Eric Lindros could have been a lot more.
Homer. That's my pick.
And I mean, to be 100% honest, Matt, it's not even a homer pick.
Legit,
It really isn't.
It's not at all.
Eric Lindros was so good. He really was, and that career got derailed.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that was due to mismanagement of the Flyers general manager and leadership team. But
like, is there an Andrew Luck aspect there a little bit? I'm asking.
He played a little while longer. He's a lot longer than
he did, but
it was never.
I think he probably could have recuperated in Philly and probably finished his career in Philly if not for having people in leadership that shouldn't have been in leadership. So for me, and not just the concussion, I know the wrist was a thing too, but
right.
But I think that those concussions is really what kind of cut short his time in Philly. Still won the MVP, but I think he would have had multiple, and we might have seen some more a return to glory for the Flyers since we're still waiting.
Let's not go crazy here, Chief.
Keep waiting, baby. Keep waiting, baby.
I like Hextall too, but damn.
That was mine, Jim. It was Lindros. It was mine as well.
Do you have a backup?
No.
Say Lemieux.
Really?
I was hoping I went first, so you could make Matt.
Yeah, there's no Rangers that you're allegedly a fan of that you could have picked.
No, not.
Shocker,
I mean,
shocker,
I guess,
hockey guy.
Mario Lemieux actually will be one you can look at if he.
Hey, way to pull that one out of your ass.
No, I had.
I mean,
that's too
obvious.
like tossing it up to him.
Yeah,
Goal scored by Ernest Christian, assist to student of the game, Kyle Nash.
I would have just done the homer pick of Forsberg if you had taken Lindros. Yeah. EJ. So.
No, but Lindros was mine. That was. I mean, would he been a top 10 player all time if he stayed healthy? You think?
Who?
Lindros. I mean,
top 10. I don't know about top 10. I feel like
maybe?
I feel like the phrase, and this isn't
not Grant Hill. Let's.
I've had people in my life that have thrown the words top 10 around far too often. So it's not a direct shot at you, but like Lindros, at least in his era, would have been among the best. Yeah. At least in his era, absolutely. But no, Mario Lemieux, honestly, and I'll give a different answer. But Mario Lemieux is the first one that comes to my mind. Because I mean, we're in an era now where we're talking about a goal record that is potentially going to be broken in the next few years. But Mario Lemieux could have been that guy and then some. He was. I'm scared to say like the words like as good as Gretzky, but he's right up there. Mario Lemieux was unbelievable.
Say Gretzky-esque. That's how you bail yourself.
Yeah,
out.
and he like the back injuries, the was it Hodgkin's lymphoma, right? I believe that he had.
Correct.
Just absolutely cut his prime short, and I mean he was able to return. He was able to play a little bit longer, but he was never the same. So yeah, without question, Mario Lemieux. Mike.
Side note, it helps. This is why you have an enforcer like Mark Messier to do things so you don't get hurt like that. I'm just throwing it out there.
You ain't lying. 94, baby.
Mike, go ahead.
This man, in 6 seasons, missed a total of 14 games. And then just days after hoisting the Stanley Cup, was paralyzed in a limousine accident from the Detroit Red Wings. It is Vladimir Konstantinov.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that dude was a fucking machine.
I remember that story. I forgot the dude's name. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically drafted in the 11th round by the Red Wings. 95-96, he recorded a plus 60. He played 446 NHL games. And it was one of those where it wasn't like, oh, look, this injury, hampered him. It was literally like, now he's here. Now he's paralyzed. And it was one of those where there's like, obviously the what ifs of, how would have his career went, things like that. But like, even just from a quality of life perspective, like it's one of those where it's just like, oh, here's a swift kick right in the throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible. Mine would have been Lemieux. One that his career and life was really cut short was a guy named Yannick Dupree. He was a prospect in the Flyers organization. Passed away at the age of 24 after a 16-month battle of leukemia. He had all the markings to be a great NHL star. But one, and it seems silly to say as a backup to Mario Lemieux, is Wayne Gretzky. And what I mean by this is at the age of 31, he suffered a back injury in his season 1992-93, and played only 45 games that season. After that, his career was never the same. So he never scored 40 goals again. And only one time after that injury did he score more than 30 goals. I mean, he had really poor seasons over the last 8-9 years of his career after suffering a back injury. So like we talk about these numbers that are insane. Like, again, he's not the first name that comes to mind, but we talk about the insane numbers that the goals is the only thing that's in reach. Nobody's ever going to touch his points ever fucking ever. But had he not suffered the injury that he did, I don't know that he only gets, 80 goals over the last 9 years of his career or whatever it was, and finishes even at I don't know if he even retires at 38. But his career is a career that was hampered by injury when he could have still been as great as he was.
So Tim, help me as the data man on the panel. Like, I question you saying, "Oh, at 32, boy, did he start to suck." Are you going to claim the Jaromir Jagr defense and claim that he could have been great in his like fucking 60s if he wasn't hurt like that?
I mean, I don't know that there's any.
I'm using hyperbole, but
I don't know that there's any reason to believe that he couldn't have if he didn't suffer the back injury that he did. I mean, the year before he suffered the injury, he had 121 points. Like, after that, and a lot of his numbers post injury came, not that some of them didn't prior, but it was more on the assist line as opposed to the goal line.
This is one of those ones like accent being an actual student rather than telling people what's right. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
I actually had an honorable mention in case I didn't get to choose my helmet pick. And that was as an avid player of NHL 94 and 96 on Sega Genesis, Pablo Bure was
that was
one.
That was my honorable mention.
The most fun players.
You playing Sega Genesis instead of Super Nintendo.
I'm sorry, I played the better system back then.
No, you didn't.
So, I mean, his speed on the game didn't even really mirror his speed on the actual ice. And his wife may be a bit of a kook, but that's okay. Whoa. She's still gorgeous, and he still was a hell of a player before his knee kind of just kept getting banged into like 6 times in a season or something. So
yeah, for sure. Mike, that was your honorable.
That was my honorable mention too.
All right, let's go to the NFL. EJ,
you appreciate this one, Matt. Randall Cunningham. That dude,
Homer,
unhealthy. That dude, and I mean, especially his early Eagles career from 88 to like 91, 92-ish, where he got hurt. Man, that dude was electric. And then he even had a little bit of a comeback in Minnesota for a while. I mean, but that dude would have been a Hall of Famer if he stayed healthy. That dude was unbelievable. Great arm, was mobile. The Eagles he made him relevant again for first time in a long time. That team was fantastic. So Cunningham was mine.
All right,
I hate the Eagles.
We on our previous episode we talked about this team a little bit. The Chicago Bears.
Good man. Good man.
I'll take the Gale Sayers guy.
Well done. Well done.
Does he get the Barry Sanders nod if he stays healthy?
Potentially.
Yeah, I would say that he could.
He's in the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Because Barry's kind of almost in the same boat. Barry played 10 years, if that.
The only way Barry has advantage is because of the vintage of player he is. He was far bigger.
Right.
All right. Matt.
I'm actually going to take someone off of that early Eagles team and be a homer just like EJ, but I'm going to go with Jerome Brown.
Yes.
Homer.
Homer.
And I know it's not necessarily an injury, but the death in the car accident, I think that Eagles defense team was a scary one with him paired on the same line as Reggie. And what Buddy was doing with that defense in the early 90s was probably going to be more important to their success than Randall, even though it was kind of, sorry, Kyle, 1A, 1B.
God.
That scenario, right? So
I just have
think
the apology beforehand.
That is a disgusting act.
losing Jerome, I think that it had more on of a toll on the team than just the loss of him on the defensive line. I think that from there, that team wasn't the same.
Those early Eagle teams left at least one Super Bowl appearance on the table.
At least, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Seriously.
With that. All right. Student of the game, Kyle Nash.
First of all, great drops, gentlemen, and I appreciate you reminding me about Brown, Matt. I haven't thought about him in a long time, and like there's some of those Eagles teams my dad and I would watch together. And a running back who ended up being a Dolphin, we enjoyed just because he did the little things. He wasn't even a star. Keith Byers,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of fun,
so
to watch
good.
that guy. So, yeah, we were talking you and EJ's Eagles, and I just wanted to bring up.
And I mean, he played for EJ's
Dolphins.
And
the
U.
Oh, Jerome Brown, yeah.
That's right. He did go right. Good. Nice drop.
Who?
This guy.
The final four. You
Settle down, Stripe Hype. Anyways, but for me, listen, and it's on this. I had a number of picks already in my head because student of the game status. But think about this. I'm not going to go into accolades or anything like that or what could have been, but more of a concept. There's a player out there who's among the best at his position. He's out there in the media, and I can make the argument, I'm not going to say arrogant, but certainly cocky for what he does. And the only reason why he's not the cockiest person on the planet is he sits across from another man who's so arrogant, he portrays knowing about sport when he really doesn't.
I know you're going with this one.
But this, I know you do. Shut the PJ.
I'm going to say it.
But
wait, hold on. I got you.
Shut the up.
Well done, Jim. But this man who maybe Terrell Owens might be the only other guy who's more cocky to have ever been in the Hall of Fame, is this guy known for his trash talking. They made a financial institution made a commercial about this guy talking trash about no more about stock than other football players. That should tell you everything. And by the way, modeled being the best receiver on the team as a tight end before it was cool. Of course, I referred to Shannon Sharp, this cocky individual whose Hall of Fame induction speech said, "I'm not even the most talented football player in my family." Gentlemen, the answer to this question, it's not Gail Sayers, it's damn sure Sterling Sharp.
Another, yeah. I mean, fantastic answer.
I love that answer.
I do have an honorable mention for myself, though.
Let Jim get in
When
there.
Jim's
Yeah,
done.
I'd like to give my answer.
Jim's done.
I know he's the host, but shit.
No. That was more like I don't want to just get run over and end the show.
I'm going to loop back to baseball, and I'm going to loop back to Kyle's answer in baseball, and I'm going to say Bo Jackson. And it's only appropriate that Kyle gave his answer for baseball first. I give my answer for football last, so we bookend this discussion. As I mean, dude, the guy was unreal. I mean, really. And my brother would play Tecmo Super Bowl as the 49ers, and the only team that could compete with the 49ers in that game was Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson and
LA Raiders, baby.
The Raiders. So I spent many a day in my childhood running the ball with Bo Jackson. And you make sure you just go like this and nobody can ever catch you.
I've seen that Family Guy episode. It's pretty great.
But yeah, this to me, the first one that always comes to mind when we talk about the NFL is Bo Jackson. And you hear the specifics and the details of that injury is just horrifying.
Oh God.
But Michael, your honorable mention.
My honorable mention is the man who decided that after his appearance in the Pro Bowl that they decided to go from playing full contact touch because he almost ended a punter's life. I'll take Shawn Taylor. Literally almost destroyed a man's soul in the middle of Honolulu.
I mean, and the best like response to a question ever is what was it? If you don't want me to play, don't put me in the game.
Yeah,
basically.
Oh hell yeah!
I mean, yeah.
I know one speed.
One of his cousins was a best man in my wedding. Yeah, I didn't even think of that as like air quotes an injury, but that's perfectly good application. Well done, Mike. Well done.
Can I ask him what the
That's how you know I respect it. I called you Mike instead of Byrne.
Adding to the Sterling Sharp thing, though, I remember getting into football in 89, 90, and the conversation being at the time being that after Jerry Rice, him being the best receiver we ever saw.
I was about to say, let's stop right there. Jimmy Graham isn't a thing. Understand this. Nobody knows who that Saints tight end is because he's just another clone wannabe of Sterling Sharp. You're absolutely right, EJ.
Yeah. So,
oh my God! I never. When will I see that phrase again?
I will throw another running back.
Mouthwash.
I'll throw another running back into the honorable mention pool with Terrell Davis as well. Someone who was imperative in the Super Bowl wins for the Broncos in Elway's heyday, and then just tore every ligament in his knee the one season and just never really mirrored his production.
Yeah. No, there's unfortunately with a sport like football, there's been far too many careers that have been cut short by gruesome injury. Any other honorable mentions before
I didn't hear the name. I'm sorry, Matt.
Terrell Davis.
Oh, Terrell Davis was your guy. I thought you were saying in addition to him. So yeah, no, TD's obviously a great choice. 100%.
All right, any others?
That's it. I'm good.
All right, that's where we're going to wrap up for this one. Make sure you are always following us on social media at Huddle Up Podcast, on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok, as well as on YouTube. Get our merchandise over at tpublic.com. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and all podcast platforms. And until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and go for the win.